I wish I could give you like the sugar-coated version of this. I wish I could just tell you what you wanted to hear instead of what you actually need to hear. But I'm not built like that. Something in me just can't allow me to just tell you any old thing that's gonna get, some views, some yes, a slay, get rid of them, cut them off, whatever. Like, I wish I could give you a response to this question that was simply created to affirm whatever it is you might already believe about this and have you leave and go through the exact same situations and circumstances over and over again. But I cannot. Again, there is a aspect of me, a part of me that will not allow you to walk away here without the truth. And so I will tell that truth, and the truth will hurt at first, but I promise that it will set you free. The way you stop attracting toxic people into your life, or the way you get rid of toxic people overall, is by getting rid of the toxicity within yourself. Now, I can already hear, a multitude of egos, right? Including my own, a multitude of limiting beliefs and programs screaming at me right now saying, how could you say such a thing? How could you say that I need to get rid of the toxicity in me in order to get rid of the toxic people? There is nothing toxic about me. I am a sensational, wonderful person. All I want is love for the world. All I want is kumbaya for everybody. And trust me, I get it. I understand it. As a matter of fact, I was that. I was the person who said, I am without sin. Look at everybody else. Look what they got going on. I am the perfect being. There is no way that I deserve what I am getting out of these people in my life. There's no way that these toxic people around me, these narcissists around me, these borderline around me, there's no way that I have anything to do with them being in my life. But I have to tell you this, and I have to say it straight up. We meet no one in our lives but ourselves. All those who are within our lives, those who we have relationship with, are nothing but mirrors of certain aspects of who we are. Universal principle says like attracts like. Therefore, it is impossible for us to attract specific things unless we have a like belief system, a like energy to that thing. I don't make this up. I couldn't make this up. I wish I did. Trust me, I wish I did just, made this out of thin air, but this is universal principle. This is truth. This is fundamental truth. And this is a truth that you're probably not going to hear in most places because, either there's a lack of the understanding around it, or people just want to say whatever is going to get you, to react positively, as opposed to actually having a transformation happen in your life. So when I say that we attract nobody but ourselves, what I'm saying is we all start out life being programmed into our first set of belief systems, right? From infancy, before you had any memory or any cognition of your own existence, you were being programmed into a specific belief system. You're being programmed into everything that you currently believe. Everything that you're currently experiencing was downloaded into you probably between the ages of 0 and 7. And for most people, they go about the rest of their lives living out that exact same program, those exact same belief systems. And so those belief systems become the lives they experience. And then they start to look at the life they experience and say, well, this must be reality. This is the way life is. This is simply how it is. This is how things are. Life is a struggle. Life is hard. Relationships are terrible. They never work out. All of these ideas, these concepts are nothing more than beliefs. Even that belief that you can't trust people, people do you dirty, etc. A lot of us were born and raised under that belief system of not trusting human beings. We were raised in a belief system that said, don't talk to quote unquote strangers. Viewing another human being as strange when you yourself are strange to somebody else. So this is just the beginning. I'm about to unpack. I'm talking about duffel bags today. I'm unpacking everybody's luggage today. So we're raised with these belief systems. We become adults and we start to live these belief systems out. And they play out as our life experiences, as the situations, circumstances, and interactions that we then attract to ourselves. And so we view it as reality as opposed to this is my belief that's creating my life. Because another individual who has a completely opposed or opposite set of belief systems is having a completely different life experience. We try to blame it on the system. We try to blame it on the government. We try to blame it on, mom and pop. We try to blame it on everybody in between. But the truth is the belief systems that we hold are the very thing that is creating our life circumstance, our life situations, and the interactions and engagements we have within our own reality. And so many of us are unconscious in the beginning, at the very least, are unconscious of the beliefs that we actually have. And a majority of those belief systems, at least 80%, are disempowering, are toxic, are destructive at the very least. Most of them say that you are unworthy, you are not enough. In order to be worthy, you have to show your worthiness to other people. Most of our beliefs are tearing us down from the very fabric of our being. Most of them say that you yourself are not worthy of your own existence. Like, if we wanted to get to the very bottom of where most people's belief system is, it starts there. It's rooted there. Because they say that, there is a God outside of you who does not love you, who hates you, or, who wants nothing good for you, right? If you are starting from that fundamental belief, or you just have parents maybe in the secular world, and their belief is, in order for you to be worthy of my love, you have to do certain things and you have to act certain ways. What that ingrains in the mind of a child is that they are not worthy within themselves, that they are not deserving of love just as they are, that they must do something in order to earn that love. And so again, when we start there, we're already at a deficit. The belief system is already at a deficit. Now, don't get me wrong. We are in control of our belief systems. As soon as we become aware, we now have a responsibility to start changing, to shift those belief systems. But we must first acknowledge that we start at a deficit. We start at low self-esteem, low self-worth, a lack of self-belief, a lack of power. So there's powerlessness or a belief in powerlessness. And so we walk around life feeling as if we are victims to life. And that message is perpetuated in almost every area of society. And if we are just drowning ourselves in more and more content or more information that is biased, that is supporting that belief system, then we will never break free from that belief. Even though it is not the actual truth, the inherent truth is that we are the creators and the manifestors of our lives, that our thoughts and our emotions are ours. We are the ones in control of our thoughts and our emotions, and our thoughts and our emotions create our external world. Now, that might be a revolutionary idea. That might be the type of idea that got Galileo chased out of the scientific halls, or the type of idea that got Martin Luther chased out of the Catholic Church. But this idea is the inherent truth. And again, I didn't create this. I didn't make this up. If I made this up, trust me, though, I would have written 150 original books about it. But this is a truth that's been spoken of since the beginning of civilization, or before civilization, before the modern Western world. These are ideas that were talked about in Kemet 5,000 years ago, in India 7,000 years ago. These things were understood to be the fundamental truths of this universe, or this life that we are living out. And so we have to start there before we can even start answering the question of the toxic people in my life. You must first understand where this is actually starting. Where is this rooted? It's not rooted in, look at these terrible people that are just coming into my life and abusing me, and I'm just such a victim to life. If that is your belief, then it's coming from that inherent belief system that I am powerless, which is not the truth. If I do anything in this video, if I get no other point across, I want you to know that you are truly powerful. Within yourself, there is the infinite power of God. Within you, there's the infinite power of creation, period. The entire universe that you think you're experiencing outside of yourself is truly happening within you. That means you are that first cause of those experiences that you're thinking are happening to you. And so when you come to accept that, then you can start stepping into this from the right premise. So you start asking a different question. You start asking, why am I attracting toxic experiences or toxic individuals, right? I do use the word toxic individuals, but really it's not toxic people. Like, people aren't inherently just toxic. Like, we like to say, oh, they're just born evil, whatever. No, like, there's a program there, right? There might be traumas that are undealt with. There's healing that had to happen that did not happen or is not taking place within that person. There's a belief of this disempowerment. And the longer we push this narrative of people are not in control at all, the more we push that narrative, then the more it's going to permeate, the more it's going to persist. So when we first start in that place of why am I attracting these individuals, then we can start to actually get to the solution. And the solution is always within what we believe about ourselves. So you may think to yourself, well, I'm not inherently like a person who is, negative, toxic, whatever, right? Okay. But if you're somebody who is a people pleaser, right, you have an inherent need to please other people in order for you to feel worthy, then you will attract individuals into your life from that very same space. People who will step into your life and take. If you're somebody who doesn't know how to receive and you give from a place of fear, which is most giving, I'll be real with you, most giving is done from a place of fear, from a place of lack, from a place of scarcity or worry that if I don't give, I'm not going to be seen as a good person, or if I don't give, then I'm not going to be worthy of love. If that is your baseline, then you will attract to yourself people who are that exact same reciprocal energy, right? We attract to ourselves what is like our own energy, what is like our own vibration. So if I'm in a state of fear, then I'm going to attract to myself situations, circumstances, and interactions that are based in fear. And again, we truly have to be honest with ourselves. Like, we got to be real. This is about to be the movement. Like, let's be real. Forget about being honest with everybody else. That's going to come. You got to be honest with yourself. That's the only way you could really be honest with anybody else. You got to be real with yourself. Like, we wear masks when we, go into the world, but don't wear a mask with yourself. You got to be real with yourself. Are you justifying certain things in your life? Are you making things which aren't as though they are? Because that's what happens in most cases. You say to yourself, no, I'm giving from a place of love. I'm giving from a place of care, but really you're giving because you want something in return, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just what energy or what intention is behind it. Right? What energy are you giving off when you're doing these things? Are you in a state of fear? Are you in a state of paranoia, of worry, of concern? Because if that's the energy that you're holding, then that's the energy you're going to attract. And I know it seems, oh my goodness, it seems impossible. Then I'm always going to attract, some people say, oh, forget about it. I'm throwing in the towel. I'm done. Oh no, take me, Lord, take me. That's not the case. This is actually the most empowering message you could hear about this period. And I stand on that forever. This is the most empowering message you can hear about this period. Is that once you are honest with yourself about what your actual energy is going into situations and circumstances, then you can see what your true belief is. So if I realize that, man, I'm honestly, like, let's say in a very toxic, intimate relationship, right? Where this person is always like verbally abusive and telling me I'm not anything, I'm worth nothing. And, they're downgrading me or belittling me. If I look into myself or within myself, I would probably recognize that I was already talking to myself that way, already had beliefs that I wasn't worthy. And so that person is just a mirror. They're a reflection of what I believe about myself. This is why a person who truly has that self-worth that they've been working on and that they've cultivated, because it does take that work, or a person who truly has that internal level of self-belief or self-love, which is a scary word for a lot of people. Oh my goodness, still. But for people who have that cultivated in them, if a quote-unquote toxic person came into their experience, they would deny it automatically. They would let it go automatically. And so a lot of us, we play ourselves. We say, no, I'm worth, like, I know my worth, but you're comparing your worth to somebody else or something else. You're not viewing your worth from within. Like, it's only when it's from within. It's only from where these things have been worked on. A lot of us, we play this game. We play pretend like, oh, I'm this, or, I truly feel this way about myself, but it's actually the complete opposite, right? It's like, just because you bought yourself a new Benz, a new belt, and a new body doesn't mean that you now have a high sense of self-worth. It just means that you bought things that you believe were going to give you some sense of validation. And that sense of validation is never going to last. It is only when you learn to validate from within, which comes from changing those belief systems, which comes from being aware and conscious of those old patterns and getting rid of them, disempowering them, and empowering new belief systems about yourself. Empowering from within, not from a book, not from a person on a pulpit, whatever it may be. That's not what's going to do it for you. It's what's happening within you consistently, perpetually. And so I'm reeling it back only to throw this cast or this net back into the water. Is you come to a place where you start realizing that I am the one attracting these people, situations, circumstances, etc., which is empowering, right? It's not shaming. Some people say, oh, that's victim blaming or victim shame. Like, that's not shaming. Shame is actually something that's programmed into most of us at youth, right? And so we are so afraid to take responsibility and ownership of our life because we believe that we have to look at the things that we, let's say, have done or the things we attracted and say, bad me. That's actually not the point. I don't believe in shaming yourself one bit. I don't believe in saying, this is my fault. I can't believe I did this. This is so terrible. Once you realize something was attracted through you, automatically, immediately, you'll say, thank you. I appreciate that I got that insight. Now let's go do the work. Like, now let's see what's really going on and how do we fix, how do we solve. Not 1 second do I tell anybody to judge themselves or to hold on to those thoughts or to continue to fixate on them. Like, that's where actually a lot of these, these traumas are reignited, is when we think to ourselves, okay, this thing happened, or, I was to do with this, and then we start blaming ourselves, right? Like, there's no progress there. There's also no progress in saying, none of this was any of me. None of this was any of me. Neither of those are empowering. Like, even when we were children, we were attracting. It's just that our level of attraction, the energy we held, was based on the people around us, right? Based on the adults around us, based on the individuals who were within our homestead, within that place where we were raised. They were putting ideas into us that attracted situations even when we were infants, when we were young. That's why you'll find some kids who already are acting a certain way, like acting, timid, or you'll find kids who are acting aggressively because they've picked up those mannerisms throughout the people around them. And so they've started attracting to themselves those same situations, circumstances unconsciously. Is it fair? Absolutely not. That's why we have to do the best job we can as those who are bringing these babies up. We have to become self-aware. We have to start to heal from within. We have to start to truly do the work so we can do better for our babies that are coming up, right? That's a public service announcement I'm going to put out there. But nevertheless, from that, is once we come to realization that it is truly us and we're empowered, then we empower ourselves to say, I am the one who is actually creating the change, creating the shift. And therefore, I'm the one who can choose to stay in the cycle or choose to step out the cycle. And for some people, it may be hard to believe, but there are those of us who stay in those perpetual cycles simply because it's easier or because it's the story we've been telling for the longest, which is basically the same thing, right? It's the most rehearsed thought process, so it's just easier to go default. Like, if you were to ask most people, what does your day-to-day look like? Most people are just going to do the same thing every single day. They're not going to step out the norm because it's going to take a level of transformation from within, right? It feels like it's taking a lot of energy or feels like, it's taking something out of you, but really it's edifying your experience. It's shifting you from within. And so when we get down to toxic people, we actually start to realize that we are only bringing them in because there are aspects of ourselves that are attracting them. And we are only keeping them because there are aspects of ourselves that they are mirroring and reflecting back to us. And once we are in a place where we're ready to part ways with those old beliefs, then we will see those individuals start to flee from our lives. Every SOB in your life is nothing but a reflection of yourself. Shout out to Rev Ike on that one. That's a bar. Now, as far as how to actually reprogram, how to start reprogramming from within, I'm going to give you a direct link to a video that I did about this specific subject matter, how to recondition that childhood programming. If you're in this process right now, make sure to stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, share this with people that you love, truly love, because those ones you'll tell the truth to. I love you. I appreciate you. Peace.